Corrections Deputies of the Month.
While working at the Brevard County Jail Complex, Corporal Michael Oldham and Field Training Officer Corey Gruby were alerted to a possible medical issue with an inmate in one of the cells. As they arrived at the cell, they observed an inmate laying on the ground unresponsive. Corporal Oldham requested medical assistance while FTO Gruby placed the inmate in the recovery position and attempted to clear their airway. Corporal Anthony Moore responded and assisted with CPR on the inmate. In addition to CPR, an AED was also utilized to deliver 4 shocks to the unresponsive inmate. Brevard County Fire Rescue responded and transported the inmate to an area hospital where additional medical care could be provided. Due to the quick response, poise, and teamwork of these corrections deputies, the inmate was able to survive this emergency medical event. Corrections Corporal Heather Thomas obtained information pertaining to inmates smuggling narcotics laced on papers into the jail complex utilizing legal paperwork. She learned the suspect was coordinating with other inmates to bring the drug-laced paperwork back for him from their court hearing. The suspect would contact his girlfriend to coordinate the drop-off of the paperwork based on the inmate's court date, who then transported the documents back to the jail. Corporal Thomas contacted Special Investigations, who conducted the investigation that culminated in the arrest of the inmate and his girlfriend. It is without a doubt that the actions and attention to detail of Corporal Thomas saved many inmates from potential drug overdose or other issues related to the narcotics that were seized before they could be distributed throughout the jail. This case has also set a precedent on how the jail complex processes all legal mail, with the inmate being provided a copy and not the original. Corrections Deputy Shauna Dankins was recently placed on a night shift rotation in facility maintenance, where her duties included supervising inmate workers in the performance of their jobs, assisting shifts with various maintenance needs, and ensuring the jail complex maintained an inspection-ready level of cleanliness. After attending a tour of another facility, Corrections Deputy Dankins learned new techniques to build upon and improve the appearance of the Brevard County Jail Complex. She was able to take what was learned from the experience and immediately apply it. She has since overseen the cleaning, stripping, and waxing of floors within the jail complex, which has greatly improved the appearance of the jail in a short amount of time. Corrections Deputy Dankins demonstrated exceptional personal initiative and increased efficiency for the personnel of facility maintenance. While working at the Brevard County Jail Complex, Corrections Corporal Travis Cooper and Corrections Deputy Siobhan Cook were alerted to an issue in one of the housing units by inmates asking for assistance. Corporal Cooper and Corrections Deputy Cook immediately responded and found an inmate hanging from the top tier with a sheet tied around her neck. They immediately grabbed the inmate's legs and lifted her up, relieving the pressure on her neck. While Corporal Cooper continued to hold the inmate's legs, Corrections Deputy Cook quickly ran up the stairs and successfully removed the sheet, allowing Corporal Cooper to gently lower the inmate to the ground, where he immediately initiated CPR until the inmate became responsive. The jail complex medical team took over care until the arrival of Brevard County Fire Rescue. The inmate was transported to an area hospital where she was medically cleared and returned to the jail complex with no significant injuries. The quick response and immediate life-saving measures taken by Corporal Cooper and Corrections Deputy Cook directly resulted in saving the inmate's life. When a brush fire erupted east of the jail complex and quickly spread to the north with many homes in its path, the Communications Center called for any available units to respond and assist with evacuating homes in the path of the fire. Corrections Sergeant Christina Isbell, Field Training Officer Brian Claudius, and Corrections Deputy Brian Stevens responded to the area. While on scene, Sergeant Isbell and Corrections Deputy Stevens assisted other patrol deputies and Brevard County Fire Rescue with evacuating homes, helping citizens with special needs, and directing traffic away from the affected area. FTO Claudius, a volunteer firefighter himself, assisted BCFR with extinguishing structure fires and saving several other structures from fire damage. Due to the quick actions of Sergeant Isbell, FTO Claudius, and Corrections Deputy Stevens, they were able to help prevent any further loss of property and assist our citizens to safety. The Clay County Sheriff's Office requested assistance from the Brevard County Sheriff's Office with a missing person investigation. Corporal Jose Rodriguez responded to their call for assistance along with his cadaver canine partner, Tito. The search for the missing person involved multiple first responders from 9 different agencies. At one point, everyone involved in the search was asked to search east of where the missing person's SUV was located. Corporal Rodriguez felt the missing person would have had a difficult time walking directly east from her original location due to the amount of brush in the area and lack of trails. Corporal Rodriguez suggested he begin to search in an area northeast of where the vehicle had been found. Corporal Rodriguez and Canine Tito were the first to locate remains of the missing person, and the search was then concentrated in the area he focused on. Corporal Rodriguez and the Canine Tito have proven to be a valuable asset to the Brevard County Sheriff's Office and several other counties throughout the state of Florida. Upon receiving a tip from an informant, Field Training Officer Deshaun Edward initiated an investigation in regards to an inmate who was possibly in possession of fentanyl within the jail complex. FTO Edward began to monitor the movements of the inmate and observed him meeting with and handing off a pair of socks to another inmate. He then made contact with the second inmate and searched the socks, leading to the discovery of a clear baggie containing a white powdery substance which Field tested positive for the presence of fentanyl and heroin. His investigation led to criminal charges against the inmate for possession and trafficking of the illegal narcotics. The actions taken by FTO Edward stopped the fentanyl and heroin from being consumed and distributed within the jail. Field Training Officer Elizabeth Hamilton has selflessly purchased school supplies for many of her co-workers who are needing help obtaining the necessary supplies for their children for the upcoming school year. She met with each and every one of the employees who reached out to her and delivered school supplies to them. As if this was not enough, FTO Hamilton generously purchased and donated enough school supplies to assist close to 800 children within the community. Without her generosity and selfless actions, these children, along with the children of her co-workers, would not have had the supplies needed to start and successfully make it through the school year. While working at the jail complex, Corporal Michael Peterson was alerted to a possible medical emergency in one of the housing units. Field Training Officer Ryan Hummel responded to the area where he found an inmate displaying labored breathing and unresponsive to verbal commands. FTO Hummel delivered a sternum rub, which also was met with no response. With the assistance of Corporal Peterson, the inmate was repositioned and CPR was administered. Corporal Peterson provided rescue breaths while FTO Hummel delivered chest compressions. The teamwork of these 2 correctional deputies ultimately resulted in the inmate beginning to regain consciousness. The inmate was transported to the hospital where he made a full recovery. During this incident, Corporal Peterson and FTO Hummel utilized their training and experience to provide the inmate with life-saving care. While working at the jail complex, Corrections Deputy Brianna Figner was alerted to a possible medical emergency in one of the housing units. Upon responding to the area, Corrections Deputy Figner found an unresponsive inmate who was blue in the face and appeared to not be breathing. Corrections Deputy Figner performed multiple sternum rubs before requesting medical assistance. After moving the inmate from his assigned top bunk to the floor, where life-saving efforts could be conducted, Corrections Deputy Figner began providing chest compressions. Corrections Corporal Adam Turco responded with and applied the AED as Corporal Peterson, Corporal Turco, Corporal Sharonda Haynes, and Corrections Deputy Lindsay Martinez all performed life-saving measures which ultimately resulted in the AED administering 1 shock to the inmate. The collective efforts of these corrections deputies resulted in the inmate receiving additional medical care and ultimately making a full recovery. While off duty, Field Training Officer Kevin Tessmacher responded to a medical emergency which involved a longtime friend of approximately 20 years. During a pool tournament, the friend suddenly collapsed and began to have a seizure. FTO Tessmacher quickly placed the male onto his side and in the recovery position. After a few minutes, the friend's health declined and he stopped breathing. FTO Tessmacher immediately began administering CPR until Brevard County Fire Rescue arrived on the scene. Due to FTO Tesmacher's quick response, the life of his dear friend was saved. After information was received that there were possible narcotics in a housing unit, a plan was developed to search the area. During the search, Field Training Officer Melody Hunter located a white powdery substance inside folded up court paperwork. The substance was field tested and determined to be heroin. After the search had been completed and all inmates were removed from the housing unit, Corrections Deputy David Dew conducted a walkthrough of the day room area to ensure no other contraband was present. In the process, he located a piece of tissue paper balled up that contained a large amount of pills that were later identified as narcotics. A follow-up investigation was conducted and the inmate who tried to conceal the pills in the tissue was identified. As a direct result of FTO Hunter's and Corrections Deputy Dew's attention to detail, a large amount of narcotics was seized and the inmates responsible were charged.